Ernie, are we ready?
This is
We're
exactly
ready, producer
right.
Ernie. Welcome back, Twilight fans, to What the Fork?
What the fork? The forks!
A Twilight Book Club. Guys, I'm so glad that we're doing this. This has made my life happy during this COVID pandemic thing to reread this book, rehash my love of this series. And I'd have to say, we had a previous episode where we just kind of like discussed our love of the series, recasting it today and our excitement about Midnight Sun. And so now the rest of this is going to be bi-weekly released of us rereading the books up to Midnight Sun. And then we will also discuss that as well. I have to figure out how we're going to break that up because it's a new one. I'm not quite sure where to stop and start. Maybe we'll just do one big thing. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see how we go.
We've got it. For fork's sake, we'll figure it out. But for this one, welcome to the world of Twilight, where Bella Swan moves from the desert to the rainy, not swampland of Forks, Washington, where she goes to high school and meets the paleness, the pale faces,
the cold ones,
the Cullens. What I have to say, rereading this book as an adult was actually an entirely different experience.
It was so odd. So weird. So when I read it when I was younger, I think I was a year out of high school when I read it. Like I think it was my freshman year of college. And it was so different because I so very much related to Bella. And the writing is so generic that it was very much like a fan fiction or a self-insert where I was like, I'm Bella and my celebrity crush is Edward and this guy is Jacob and like that. And reading it as an adult and I'm like, girl, you stupid.
You stupid. Oh, let me pause this real quick. I didn't introduce any of us. I am your host, Sarah, and I'm brought here with my girlfriends having this conversation. I have Jordan. Say hi.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan.
And I've got Keiki. Say hi.
Hey guys, I'm Keiki.
Okay, now we're back. I when reading this, I was like, I remember really not liking the first book. And I remember thinking it was really boring and slow and nothing
happens in this book.
Nothing happens.
I don't know how I read this book multiple times because I bought it like when it first came out. And I read it multiple times until the next book came out. And I don't know how.
You're crazy.
I also remember really not liking Bella. And I think that the movies tainted my memory of her because the book Bella versus the movie Bella are two completely different characters.
Oh, yeah. Well, book Bella, the only descriptor that you have is that she's got brown hair and that she's clumsy. And that's basically all you know about her.
But when I read book Bella this time around, I was like, she's not this weak, frail, delicate little bitch that we made her out to be. She's a bad bitch. Okay.
Right?
She can take care of her damn self.
She starts snapping on folks.
She made her choice to leave Phoenix, to let her mama do her thing and live her own life because she knew she was going to be out the house in a year anyway.
Exactly.
Bella is grown.
She goes toe to toe with Edward a lot. And she puts him in his place a lot.
And her father and Billy Black.
Yeah. Exactly. And her friend, she's also not a terrible friend.
No.
The movie makes her a terrible friend.
Yeah.
She's queen matchmaker. I mean, girl was planting seeds and sewing up everything that needed to happen for her group.
And she really was the queen of letting people down gently because by the third time somebody had asked me to the Ladies' Choice dance, I would have started cussing folks out. And she was just like, no, I'm not going. Sorry, ask somebody else.
And she's got Tyler being like, it's okay, we got prom. And she's like, what?
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
You know, I know you almost killed me with your van, but we're good.
We're even. It's fine.
It's all fine and dandy. We're good.
Yeah. And she's also pretty, like, crass and really sarcastic. You know? Do you need me to run you over so you feel better?
Right? Yeah.
She's got a sense of humor.
That's what I absolutely love about her character now, because I just remember reading it as a teenager. I wasn't even a teenager. What am I saying? I was like in my early 20s when I read this. And I just was like, God, she's so whiny, but oh my God, I love all this shit. Like Jasper was actually my favorite, and I'm sure he probably actually will stay that way. But I don't know. We'll see. As an adult, it might be very different. But I really appreciated rereading this as a grown-up because I have a completely different view on all of it.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, I see the windows now.
Yeah, I see a lot of the different layers, and it's a lot easier to see some of the misogyny in it and some of the covert, like, not great things. However, there was like this really big backlash when it started, like, they're abusive, and we touched on this last episode. And this episode, or this time around reading it as an adult, I don't think they're abusive. I just think they're all stupid. Like, they're just young and dumb.
They're just teenagers.
Yeah.
Young, dumb, sheltered, different. Also, you gotta think, like, they're all from different, like, eras and times.
Yeah, so there's definitely a huge communication gap, which was one of the funniest things reading it this time around, because some of the verbiage used, like, some of the stuff that Edward says, and he's like, "Oh, my lady, you're so desirable."
You speak like you're from a different time.
Yeah, it's because he's 100 years old, bro.
No, as we discuss this, I honestly don't care if we jump back and forth. I'm hoping that people have already read the book. This is not a read along.
If you haven't read the book, I don't know why you're listening to this.
I know. This is just like a
Why
fun
do you care?
discussion of things. I liked that Edward always was like, "Wait, you're not an idiot? Like, you're not." You know, like, he was
You're
always like,
not stupid.
you're-
Women didn't have education,
Right?
in my time.
You have an opinion?
What?
Prophase? Okay, this is right. Prophase? You know what that means?
You can classify
plant
cells and plant life.
This is
Who
one
are
of
you?
my ongoing questions, and I thought when I started the book, I had this question because I couldn't remember, and I kept reading, and I was like, maybe it'll get answered, and it never got answered.
Okay.
Well, the answer they had was really flimsy. Why the forks are the Cullen family still pretending to be high school students? I would not want to go to high school more than one time, and they have done it like 35 times.
Well, I don't remember if they actually answered in the book or just because of the movie.
Well, no, in the book, it's a really lame, thin answer. And they're like, "Oh, we go because we're around high school age, so we can only stay in one place so long.
yeah.
Because we don't age." But like, they could just get away with being like, "Oh, we're homeschooled."
That's very true.
Yeah, because Esme was a home wife anyway, so it could be like, "Oh, Dr. Cullen and his wife just homeschool their kids."
But could you imagine the rumors that would start? It would be like the Burbs. They're the
Okay, no,
weird
listen.
family with the bodies in the basement.
You don't think it's weirder that they had teenagers going to school that were all adopted and yet they were dating each other in the same house, and that's not weird? Like,
Hey,
if they went to my high school and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're all adopted and they're not related, but they're still dating each other," I'd be like, "That's some weird shit, y'all."
we have that on Riverdale, okay? You've got
They're adopted and they're forking.
You got Alice and
That's
FP,
weird.
and you have Betty and Jughead. It's a thing. It's all happening. It's not a problem.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It happened on Gossip Girl with Dan and Serena, and I was like, "That's some weird, y'all."
That was nasty. Okay. That was related.
I want to talk about some of the changes that the book did, like the movie did to the book, because they kept some things. They kept some one-liners, right? Like, you know, the lion fell in love with the lamb. What a stupid lamb. What a masochistic lion.
Oh, God.
You know, you've got one of the best things about Charlie is he doesn't hover. You know, you have some great little lines in there, but I feel like they changed a lot. Like
they did change a lot of dialogue, and some of it was necessary because some of the dialogue was really when I got to the point where it's like, "Do I dazzle you?" I was like cringing. I had to put the book down for a second because I was like, "I can't believe nobody talks like that. This is ridiculous. I'm embarrassed."
You're doing it again.
You're dazzling me. I'm so embarrassed. I don't care how fine I thought a guy was. I could be talking to Drake himself, and I'd be like, "You all right?"
I think that the book got what they got. Not the book. Oh my God, I'm going to keep saying that. What the movie got really wrong was showing us how they fell in love with each other. It doesn't happen in the movie. It's very choppy. It just kind of like they hang out once. Like he stalks her to Seattle or Port Angeles, wherever it was that they went. And then they have a mini conversation. She touches him. "Oh my God, you're cold." And then they're in love. Yeah. Like, and he takes her to the woods and is like, you think you could outrun me? And it's all so like serious and angry.
It happens so, it's so much. And it's still, I will say, it's very rushed in the books as well. You don't get a lot of them falling in love, which I think is a very teenage thing. You hang out with somebody one time and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm in love with them." So yeah, that is.
But yeah, I mean, they had lunch a couple times. They talked to each other.
They went on a date to Seattle.
So it is kind of great in that way in the books, but the movie is much worse. And the part from the movie that I actually kind of missed when I was reading the book again, what am I? Say it, vampire. Say it.
What do we eat? Have you seen, there's this amazing TikTok video, and I will share it to our Twitter, of this girl reenacting that scene. And And she's like, you think you could outrun me? And then she just kind of jogs. And then she's like the strength, and she like rips the plant bush up and throws a stick down.
No, my favorite TikTok is the one where they're watching Twilight on the badly hung projector.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that.
That's a good one. I'll post that one too so we can all see it.
I love that. I wish that they would have kept Bella meeting Jacob at La Push.
Yes.
Because it
made way more sense in the book. Way more sense.
And also it kind of makes her go, oh, I'm going to use my feminine wiles and get some information out of him.
Exactly. I'm going to flirt.
Yeah, it empowers her a little bit. And it also it sets up things better in subsequent books.
Absolutely. It sets it up way better. It tells the story of their tribe better and with the Cullens better. And it kind of pushes you to understand why Jacob was always kind of confused. He's like, but you like me. And she's like, no, I don't.
We're just friends.
Used you to get what I needed. And you took that and I forget that you're like super young.
Right.
You know? But I wish they would have kind of kept that the same.
Yeah. I wish that they would have... I'm just going to get on my moral soapbox right now, and I wish that the whole series had done better justice by La Push and the Keelat tribe, and I'm just going to... That's my piece. Stephanie Meyer, you owe them money. Period.
Reparations.
Basically reparations.
Like, because we were talking about this off microphone, where you were like, like just pick a random tribe and turn you into a werewolf. She didn't make up her own.
She didn't make up her own thing. She, took things that kind of are part of their culture and not really. And basically she just did a Google search and was like, I have this idea and I need to fit something into my idea. Mm-hmm. And she did a Google search and she's never done anything to give those people justice that they need. In America, it's clear that natives need justice. So
100%.
She owes them some money. Give them some money. Give them some of this Midnight Sun cuts you're going to get, Myers.
Because you're going to get it.
You're going to get the Midnight Sun money.
You're going to get that Midnight Sun.
I already pre-ordered it. You're going to have 18 of my dollars. Give like 9 of them to the tribe.
Give like 9 of them to the tribe. No, I also don't appreciate that the movie made Bella such a terrible friend.
Yeah.
Because she was not. She was obsessed with the Cullens, but she still hung out with her friends. She really wanted to go dress shopping with them to go to the dance. She didn't want to go to the dance, but
she wanted to be there. She wanted to help them out. She wanted to hang out with them.
Her whole motive of hanging out with her friends wasn't to just go to this bookstore. She actually had friendships in real life.
Okay, so speaking of the bookstore, there was such a missed opportunity in this book series. So when I was reading that scene again as an adult, they describe her walking around and she finds a bookstore, and it's not really a bookstore. It's like a psychic shop with crystals and whatnot is how they describe it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I don't want to go there. And that would have been a really great place to set up some foreshadowing. Like, oh, she goes into a crystal shop and meets some weird witch fortune teller who tells her about werewolves and vampires and garbage. Like, there's a lot of the backstory that they really could have woven in if they had added one quick scene of her going into that shop.
Exactly. Right. The whole oh, well, that's not a real bookstore. It has crystals. I'm just going to go walk around.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It would have been so much better. And then think about casting potential. Like, if you had Cher in that witch shop, given like Dark Lady. Remember Cher's song Dark Lady vibes? And Cher's like, wow, you're dating this guy named Edward. Let me tell you about him.
Like gypsies, tramps, and thieves.
Yeah, right? But it could have been a whole moment that I feel like was very just thrown away and missed. Particularly because they spend a paragraph describing the store just for her to be like, oh, I'm not going to go in.
Yeah, like, just kidding. And they try to fix that in the movie, and you just have like a 30-second thing of not even of her just like buying a book and be like, thank you. And she's like, you're welcome, like walks away.
Yeah, no, it really could have. And there are a lot of other movies that have done that, especially vampire films. So missed opportunity.
I did like that the movie took the men who follow her and like set them up a little earlier. So they're in the dress shop, they're being creepy dudes, knocking on the window, and then it's the same men who attack her.
Yes.
And I love that Edward is like, when he comes to, quote unquote, save her, he's like, what were you going to do? She's like, I was figuring out how to like remember my self-defenseness and like punch him in the nose. He's like, what? It's like, she was actually doing something. She wasn't going to get attacked. She wasn't going to go down without a fight. Yeah, she was
taking someone with her.
Book agency, or book Bella has way more agency than movie Bella for sure.
100%.
But still, Edward meeting her in Port Angeles is still very thin. Like, it is a very thin, it is a plot device for sure.
Yeah, book, movie, same thing happened. Yeah. He just stalked her around a little bit.
Yeah, I just decided that you're clumsy, so I'm going to follow you, even though we're not really friends. We don't talk that much.
I know. It takes, stalk you to like a whole new level.
Right.
Exactly.
It's like before we could get on every social media and figure out your whole life, family, and background.
So here's the thing. Most movies and TV shows that are older would be ruined if the characters had cell phones or internet. Like, one thing that I love to say is that Buffy wouldn't be a show anymore if they had the internet or movies, because it completely eliminates the need for like Giles and Willow. Like, neither of them need to be like reading all these books and tomes and volumes. Somebody could just do a Google
God, we
search.
brought up Buffy.
They'd all have script sync.
Right? No, I love Buffy, but like, you don't, like, if they had cell phones, it'd be a completely different different show. There's so many shows like that, but this is one where like if they had cell phones and like that had the internet, if they had smartphones, it'd be a completely different series, but it'd be a better series. It would make more sense. They could get way more obsessed with each other way quickly because they could just internet stalk each other as opposed to like following each other to Port Angeles in a flashy car.
But then at least they have dinner, and then that sets up them having multiple lunches. And then, you know, you have that whole thing where he doesn't come to school on Blood Day, you know, when they're doing like the DNA thing, you know, and you have that other extra interaction. At least we had something that was very high school.
Yes, for sure.
And I
will say, as a 30-year-old reading that book, I had fucking flashbacks when I was like, anaphase, and I was like,
prophase. Oh, God. Oh, my.
Dissect a flatworm.
Not the cat. They don't do that anymore. It's all digital now or something.
I was one of the first students to do a digital dissection because I refused. I refused to cut up with a frog in 7th grade.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Animals.
Wow.
I love it.
I was always forced into it. But, you know, I have tiny hands. So.
Yeah. Something else I really kind of forgot about in this was like they name drop the Volturi in the beginning because you know you get a lot more backstory. You get Carlisle's backstory of him being turned in the 1600s or something.
Yeah.
And how he went off, and you know they touch on it way later. What was like in the second or third book? It has to be the second because that's when like Edward goes to kill himself. And they're like, yeah, the Volturi, and he kind of explains it there. But, you know, you learn so much more about, like, Carlisle, and you get a little bit of Esme. And, like, I completely forgot the connection between James and Alice.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
I remembered that, but I thought it happened... No, that's a lie. I remembered how Alice got turned. I thought we didn't find that out until later books. And I forgot that James knew about that until I read it again.
Like, he was, like, obsessed with her. He's like, that was the, like, I got, like, in a way, like, she was his Bella.
Yeah.
But he never went for her. And then he was like, oh, man, she was turned. I missed my opportunity. And
I'm going to get this new girl.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I completely forgot about it. Because they're all like, we don't know where she came from. Yeah. She just kind of popped up one day.
And that was such a great connection that could have been expanded upon. But again, it's like a 3-sentence throwaway. The book definitely has pacing issues.
Yeah.
The book has super pacing issues because nothing happens in the first like 2/3 of the book, and your villain's not introduced.
Which is why it took me 8 months to read Twilight.
Yeah, no, your villain isn't introduced until like your final third of the book, and then he's got this great connection with another character that could have really been explored, but no, he's dead. Bye. Fuck it.
Yeah. Deuces.
Bye.
Bye.
Looking at it as a series, it is a strong series, but there are ideas that were threaded in that could have just been introduced at different times. Yeah. Like the pacing could have been changed.
It's kind of how I feel about the first Hunger Games book.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the Hunger Games book, the very first one. I was like, after I finished reading it, I was like, do I care enough about these characters to like keep going? And the only ones I cared about were like not Katniss.
So this is a very funny, it's one of my favorite stories. I had read the Hunger Games book and I went to go see the movie, and I went to go see it with my mom, and she hadn't read the book yet. And so we sit through the whole movie, and she's like super into it, and I can tell that she's really having a great time, which was good because I had drug her there, and I hope that she didn't just sit there and like, wow, that movie is garbage. But it gets to the end, and we're in a crowded theater, and we get to the end, and my mom literally stands up and she goes, "That's a fucked up ending." Because she didn't know that it was going to stop there, and she said, this doesn't make sense. Why?
That's amazing.
That is so
But to your point, like the first one is not great, and it ends in a really garbage place. And
yeah. And that's kind of like Twilight, right? Like the baseball scene happens, and you're like, oh, something's going down.
Right, yeah. Oh, man, the book is really starting. And then, no, the book is over. It's going to end in another 100 pages.
Yeah. And you're like, oh.
And
that's it.
Wrap that shit
up.
Scene.
But I will say, hey, it got me to read the next one.
It did, like, yeah. It works.
If that hadn't happened, I would never have read the entire series.
Because I would have assumed that nothing else was going to happen the rest of the series. We'll get another ankle.
another ankle,
I was like,
another
okay,
collarbone.
It took me 8 months. It took me less than 24 hours to finish the last of the book.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took me so long. And then I was like, okay, hey, Jordan, I saw you had those Twilight books in your dorm room. Let me get those.
Right, which this shows you what a twihard I was, that even with having to move in and out, Keiki and I had to move every year in our dorms. We didn't get to stay there over the summer.
Right.
So I had to move a total of like 7 times over the course of college. And I still brought my Twilight books with me every time.
That says a lot.
This is embarrassing, and it says a lot.
That says a lot. Oh, can we take a minute to talk about like the differences in the vampires of like this world versus the world that we know? Like they drink blood.
Do you mean normal. The glitter?
The glitter?
That's a little bit of it. Yeah, we're gonna get to the glitter. But like they don't sleep where other vampires sleep during the day, right?
Yeah.
Some of them, like if you get into Vampire Diaries, they have to have rings so that they can walk during the day without getting burnt up. You know, with these guys, can they, because you were talking about Instagram and social media, right? Can they be seen in mirrors? Can they take pictures?
They can be seen in photos if you think about the movies, because I'm pretty sure there are some photos somewhere in the movies, right?
There are photos in the
So they can be seen in photos. I don't know if the mirror thing, So as a huge vampire fan, and I've read, Vampire Diaries and the True Blood books, and if you can throw it at the wall and name it, I've read it or watched the movie.
Right.
A lot of the lore in this didn't bother me per se, especially how it was utilized. Like I love the idea of venom.
Yeah,
because,
I like that too. I thought that was a different
I thought it was a very different take, and I thought it was a really good one where, like, you do, as a predators, they do have all these different tools that they can use. But venom's actually a really great one because, all right, now I've caught you, but if you were thinking about getting away, I'm going to paralyze the shit out of you too. Like, you're done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that one was really cool.
Where like in Vampire Diaries, you just have to die with vampire blood in your system, and that's how you turn. Interview with the Vampire, don't you just get bit?
As long as you just get bitten.
No, you also have to drink from your maker.
Oh, you have to drink from your maker. That's right. So it's like
I just finished the Southern Housewife's Guide to Killing Vampires or Slaying Vampires or whatever it's called.
I heard that's really good.
It's real good. It's real good. But you find out the way that a new vampire was born, and that one is really disturbing.
Oh,
did not like.
So I want to know. Spoiler alert. I don't know.
I don't want to spoil it for all of our listeners. I'll tell you guys off mic.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, so there are a lot so I think that the vampire venom was a very interesting addition to vampire lore. I also didn't mind that they didn't sleep because it shows how they utilize that time with the Cullen family. It's like Edward's a virtuoso.
Right.
He knows all this stuff about music, which, sidebar, this low-key proves that I don't want to call Stephenie Meyer a racist, but there is prejudice in there because Edward had the nerve to say that the music in the 50s was better than the music in the 70s, which is like a direct dig at disco. And
That's fair.
If you hate disco, it's just because you don't like black people or gay people. Disco's great.
If you don't like disco, you don't like the gays.
Yeah, it's great music. So shut up.
I love the 50s and 60s because of Motown, to be fair.
Yeah, Motown. Yeah, that's why it was great. But yeah, no.
Doo-wop, dream pop, that is all my jam. I don't think I would have ever listened to indie music if it wasn't for listening to Art LeBeau at night and listen to that 1960s swag.
Yeah, but I mean, the 70s got you Fleetwood Mac. Like, there's a lot of great music that came out of the 70s.
Absolutely.
So fork you,
There's
Edward.
a lot of good drugs that created a lot of good music.
Fork you, Edward. The 70s had great music. But, he doesn't sleep, so he studies music. That's awesome. Like, it shows how they use all their time wisely, I think. So that,
what
not
would
sleeping
we
didn't
do
bother
if
me.
we didn't sleep?
Oh, right. I would be much better embroiderer. I'd be using that time in the night to embroider.
I might actually take the time to relearn piano.
Right? Like, there are a lot of things that I would do if I wasn't spending those 8 hours of sleep.
I would probably have finished the Spider-Man game. I stopped. It was too hard. It was too hard, okay?
I haven't finished Jedi Fallen Order either. I'd finished that video game.
Okay,
but
so
this glitter. Are we going to talk about the glitter next?
Let's get into the sparkles.
Oh, man.
How do you guys feel? I actually don't hate it because I think it's so ridiculous. I kind of love it.
When I first read the books, I didn't hate it until I gave my brother the book to read. And he called me and he was like, so Edward Cullen was like that part in Chappelle's Show where he meets Rick James and he can see his aura and he's like, give it to me, baby. Give it to me. And you can see his aura. Like, that's what happens. And that's when I started hating it. I was like, wow, you're right. It probably is kind of like a Rick James moment. You can see his aura and I don't like this.
Or it's kind of like a stripper covered in body glitter, smelling like cotton candy. Okay, don't act like we didn't all wear body glitter when we were kids.
I still
do.
That
shit was the shit.
I still do. Exactly. Don't hate on me. Now we just call it like Venti Glow Primer or something. Rihanna has it.
Glow primer.
Yeah, don't start with me.
As I rub my shoulder.
Yeah, I rub my shoulder with my makeup brush.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. I would have preferred vervain. Like, I feel like Vampire Diaries is probably the best way around describing how vampires go out in the sun.
With the rings.
With the rings and the jewelry and the different treatments. And
I like glitter.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at glitter.
I just like that she came up with her own version of it.
Yeah, right. I like that she's, doing something different, but it's still,
it's fine.
Ew.
It happens. Whatever. I like... back to the book part of it. When after this whole baseball scene happens, and now James is obsessed, right? And like he's a hunter, and this is right.
He's a tracker.
And this is what
I read his mind. He's a tracker. That's what he does. He tracks
the things and he runs out of
You made this his favorite game.
I love how they don't even define what a tracker is, and everyone just goes, he's a tracker.
It's like, okay. They're like, fill in the blank with your own thoughts.
Right? Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Context clues.
They killed this scene in the movie, and I'm assuming it's budget issues. And it's when Bella gets away from them in the airport. My whole thing is, though,
part of it was budget, and part of it was where they filmed, because most of that movie, when they weren't on location in Forks, was filmed in Santa Clarita.
That's fair.
So there's actually a scene when they're supposed to be in Phoenix and they're at a hotel. In Santa Clarita, and you can see my former unhealthy friend group in that shot.
Stop it.
There were Twilight fans who figured out where they were filming, and so they went to the hotel, and you can see a bunch of the fans in the shot because they just couldn't move, like they just couldn't get them out of the shot.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's crazy.
I mean, that's
I love
next
that.
level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look like for New Moon, if you look at the DVDs like extras, you can see how they had to ward the fans off when they were in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And they literally had fans in like cloaks.
No, there's
like Volturi Day.
There's
Just
a
like to do
girl.
something.
There's a girl in that scene holding my copy of Twilight, which I had loaned to her to get signed for me when they're outside of the hotel.
I'm about to go back. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to find her.
So yeah, they weren't in the
Take a
airport
picture.
because of budget scenes and because most of that was just filmed in California,
Right.
not Arizona.
It's like they're in this hotel and like James calls her. Don't they have super hearing, right? Isn't that part of their thing?
Yeah, they can hear well, they can smell really well, like all the extra, like they have extra senses. They have
So
heightened
they
senses.
knew what this girl was up to.
Well, I mean, even if you have super hearing, can you hear like
On the phone?
Can you hear somebody on the other end of a Nokia 800? Because it wasn't a good cell phone. Like it's not an iPhone.
I don't know.
It's like she's got a phone that plays Snake. The sound quality probably wasn't that good.
I forgot about Snake. No, I'm just like, they don't hear him on the phone. And then when she's deciding, like she even tries to figure out how to like thwart Alice, right? She's like, well, so how do your powers actually work?
Well, yeah, no, Alice can't see everything in the future, and that's a primary thing in a lot of future-telling lore, that you can only see once somebody has made up their mind.
Right.
So she's only seeing snatches of the future, and she can only, when Bella changes her mind to decide to meet him, it's subjective.
Right.
She can see that, Bella is there now, but she can't see why Bella ended up there because she can't see all of it. So
Right.
I bought that.
All right. So maybe it's like she sees the end result, right? She sees both of them at the ballet studio, but she doesn't know how it happened.
Yes.
Because she's drawing the house. She's drawing the ballet studio. And then she probably sees Bella like laying on the ground almost dead.
To me, that was such a weird place to have the climax of your story, by the way, a ballet studio. Like, it's such a weird place to choose to have the climax of your story.
A hall of mirrors.
But then it also showed us that vampires could be seen in the mirror.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I mean,
They had
These
reflections.
vampires can be seen in the mirrors,
They
and
can.
they glitter.
They glitter.
and they glitter. And then we end our story in the hospital because, well, let's not end our story yet. He has to like suck the venom from Bella's arm. And he's like, I don't know if I can do it. And then I can stop. Can I stop? And then he does it.
He does it. He wins.
Good job, Edward. And then he's like totally fine around her. And I love it.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, it's kind of like, when there's that person you're obsessed with and then you like sleep together and you're like, yeah, this will never work. And now you're no longer obsessed with each other.
Yeah, right. You get it out of your system.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta like get it out of your system. He just had to have a little
Yeah,
taste.
it's like when you meet a celebrity and you're like, okay, you're actually not that great.
And it was
I'm
like,
over it.
the flavor was good, but
I mean,
had
but
it
still,
better.
at the same time, as somebody who like thinking about the food things that I'm obsessed with, if somebody put like avocado toast in front of my face and was just like, take 2 bites and that's it, put the rest away. If I was hungry, I don't know if I could take 2 bites of that avocado toast and then put the rest away.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that kind
I love
of.
how healthy you are, because for me it'd be like a crunch wrap, a margarita. Take 2 sips of this margarita and don't touch it. I'd be like,
Right? Right? This is the best Moscow mule
One
that you'll
sip.
ever have in your life. It's going to taste better than any Moscow mule you've ever had.
Amazing.
But you can't drink all of it. I don't know if I would stop.
I would not.
Props to you, Edward. You got that self-control.
Right? He did it. And
He
now
has
he's able
willpower.
to willpower. He's been able to like tease her.
It's like he's been on Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers, and he's like, I know how many points I can use.
You, one thing that you said, Jenny Craig, and I don't know, made me start thinking about Emmett for some reason and getting killed by the bear. I don't know why my mind worked that way, but I started thinking about other things. And other things in the book that are really powerful and great is that they had this one conversation with Laurent. And even Laurent says, I'm not going to stay here and I'm not going to fight you or fight him, but I will go check out the other vegetarians in Denali. Like, fuck it. Maybe this is a good way of life. Like, how great is that the Cullens were able to change his mind in like 20 minutes?
Right? They were able to completely change his perspective when you have
nobody
new information presented.
How do you get your protein?
Yeah, right. Nobody asked him, how do you get your protein? What do vegans actually eat?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what does Edward say? He's like, it's like living a life on tofu. It's fine, but it's not fully satisfying.
As a vegetarian for 12 years, I would like to say that is incorrect.
Could you eat tofu every single day for every meal?
But I could eat a soy chicken nugget.
But there's a different flavor. Like the soy chicken nugget to the tofu is like a bear versus a mountain lion.
Seasoning, okay? It's all about seasoning.
Yeah.
Gotta make it spicy. Vegetables have more flavor anyway.
So yeah, it's great that they changed his mind. Who's your favorite member of the Cullen family?
Jasper.
Alice.
As of today, right now, at this moment, it's Emmett.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure if you asked me tomorrow, I'd have a different opinion. But right now, at this moment, it's Emmett.
He is hilarious. And I feel, what is the actor's name who played him? I cannot remember. I'm going to IMDb it right now. But I thought he embodied the character to a T. Because Emmett's just
so
like
Brody bro.
Emmett's just the fun guy who you can bro out with, and you're like, this is never going to be very serious. Not a serious friendship. There's no serious dating potential. But if I were to sit down and watch a football game and have a good time, who am I going to call? Emmett.
If I want to flip tires just because I want to flip tires,
Emmett.
If I want to go fight a bear,
Emmett. Like, Emmett is just down for whatever. I don't have anything to do tonight, but I got a case of beer at home. Emmett.
Also, think of how everyone else died in the way we've learned thus far. We've only learned about Carlisle and Esme. But Emmett
and Alice.
You find out about Alice at the end of the book.
Emmett died fighting a bear. Emmett was attacked by a bear. Emmett is the Revenant.
Right? Emmett's the Revenant.
He is Leo in the Revenant.
Emmett is Davy Jones.
Vampire.
Emmett is Davy Jones in a coonskin cap, and now he's a vampire. Emmett is the greatest person that we know.
How dope is that? How did you die?
Kellen Lutz.
Fighting a bear. Kellen Lutz. Yes, Kellen Lutz.
Cheers to you, Kellen Lutz.
Cheers to you, Kellen Lutz, because you were the best cast out of the Cullen family, you and Esme. But really, Emmett's he is Ron Swanson as a vampire.
I fought a bear and I died.
I fought a bear and I died. Like when
Lord, him a coming.
When he and Jasper are in the garage when they're about to send Bella off, we'll rip apart and burn the pieces. Like those were his lines. And he was like,
yeah, it was total Ron Swanson energy. It's so great.
Oh God.
Especially in the movies. Always seeing him on the back of the truck, just like hanging out.
Want to go mudding? Yeah, like that's who he is.
This is like Washington. It is freezing cold. We've already established the weather in this place. And he's like, that's cool. I'm going to hang out outside the truck.
Yeah. Davy Crockett, not Davy Jones, y'all.
I got you.
I undermeant what you stood.
Samesies.
Thanks.
Like Rosalie knew exactly what she was doing when she found him dying in the
eyes.
Mm-hmm.
She was probably stalking him.
She was on it, yeah.
I want their backstory.
I really do.
Because, like, were they dating before? Was she just stalking him a la Edward and Bella?
I want a whole series about them, and it can be very much like Ron Swanson and Leslie Knope energy.
I'm into it. I would be down for that 100%. I am excited to keep reading the series and talking about it with you guys. Maybe we'll be able to do like some weird Mystery Science Theater thing and we can watch the movies and have some commentary, and we'll upload that as like a fun special side project of sorts.
Are we missing important book points? I feel like it's so hard because the first book doesn't have a lot of plot points. It just doesn't.
It doesn't, no. Basically, Bella's just thirsty for like the first third of the book, and then she figures out, oh, hey, he's thirsting for me too.
I did appreciate.
I will show him my ankle.
Should we touch? Can we touch?
I know. Have some ankle, daddy.
I do appreciate that, like, she figured it out and she wasn't afraid of him. She challenged him all the time. Like in their lunches, she's like, what, you don't eat like regular food? He's like, takes a bite of pizza and is like, what, you could eat dirt too if you really tried.
And she's like, I did.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of the first book. It's a little bit of their like building relationship and getting to know each other, her figuring out who they are and not caring, and, you know, just kind of going from there.
Yeah.
Overall, the book kind of gave us a relationship. The movie, not so much.
No.
I have qualms with that.
Yes.
Overall, the book had a stronger feminine version of Bella. The book did. The movie, not so much.
Not so much. But this is one of the reasons that I think that a lot of books that are adapted need to be adapted into television shows and not movies.
Yeah.
Because when you adapt a book into a movie, by and large, there are just details that you're going to gloss over or you're going to miss because it can't fit into 2 hours.
Exactly.
And I really think that if this was a TV series, you could make such a stronger case for their relationship.
I agree with you completely.
It would be a much more satisfying slow burn.
Like, could you imagine in Vampire Diaries, Elena choosing Damon out of nowhere? Like he, like he murdered her brother. He, you know what I'm saying? Like he did all these horrible things and then she still falls in love with him. You could never do that in like a split second. You have to know the 3-4 season story arc of their relationship.
Exactly. So there's got to be a way, there's just got to be more to it. And I think that this could have a way more satisfying pacing structure and you could really get to know them as characters and see the relationship build and get some of the back and forth, because part of the problem with books and why I'm excited for Midnight Sun is when you see something from one character's perspective, it's very skewed.
Yeah. And
it's the way 500 Days of Summer doesn't hold up anymore.
Right, exactly, because you're seeing it all from his perspective and you're like, nah, he's a D-bag.
Relationships and you're like, bro, I said I didn't want a boyfriend. Grow up.
Yeah.
Jacob. Awesome. Well, ladies, I'm excited to do New Moon with y'all. Whoop, whoop. And what?
It took me 2 months to read New Moon.
Okay, well, you're going to have 2 weeks, so get on it.
Get it together.
I know.
If you listeners want to read along with us, we will see you in 2 weeks. Until then, fork off.
Fork off.
Fork off.
If you want to know what the fork is up, head on over to our Streamer Links page at streamerlinks.com/smellsliketeenangst to follow all our personal social media and pages.